you, but you cannot stay here, Spirit. You must move on.
You are the one who does not belong. I will never abandon my people.
Groot? Kenna, Bridge of Spirits is an action-adventure game developed and published by Ember Lab. Kenna is set in a fictional land, which I don't think they ever really give an overall name. It's more like names to each, piece of the land. But what we do know is it is a place that Kenna does not reside from. The village that Kenna comes across, which is used as the game's hub world, is abandoned and infected by some sort of virus which has to be destroyed at its core, which is kind of like the seed inside a flower, to reclaim the area. Because of these flowers, throughout the game, Kenna restores these areas to a better state. Also throughout the game, Kenna meets people that remain stuck between physical and spirit worlds through either trauma or feeling like they just have unfinished business that doesn't allow them to pass over. Kenna, who is known as a spirit guide, tries to help these characters find peace so they can move on to the other world. Also on the journey, Kenna meets these little friends named Rot that will help her on her journey through helping with carrying objects, pulling levers, destroying infections through their water form, amongst other things that they're very helpful with. So essentially, without the Rot, Kenna can't really complete her journey. So the more the merrier, which is perfect because there are 120 Rot in the game to be found.
Why have you come?
I sense suffering here, Spirit. Do you need help?
You know nothing of suffering. This is my home, my village. Turn back, Spirit Guide.
The story of Kenna could be pretty emotional ride at times, which is kind of expected when you're dealing with spirits trying to pass over to the other side. This game is also an amazing feat, in my opinion, as it was made by 15 people, and just how polished the game was, knowing that, is an amazing feat and an amazing accomplishment. The first thing that will stand out with this game is it is visually stunning. It is a very pretty game and also a very cute game, especially when it comes to the Rot. It's really not an overly long game, coming in at about 8 to 9 hours, but the game can be rather challenging on any difficulty other than story mode difficulty. And yes, this game does take from other games, but so do a lot of other games. So I'm not really going to sit here and nitpick a game made by 15 people that is this good just because they used some features from other games. If that was the case, we should hate on almost every game, because for the most part, majority of games take features from other games because they get inspired by other games, take features, try to make them better. That's just what a lot of developers do at this point. Beyond that, when it comes to the gameplay for Kenna, it isn't really perfect, but I did enjoy it overall. It is very simplistic, but like I said before, it can be challenging with certain enemies. The game gives you a light attack with R1 and a heavy attack with R2, with upgrades available throughout the game as you collect more currency. Kenna also gets a bow and arrow that is very helpful against tougher enemies when you want to keep the distance, and is also helpful in different puzzles to hit long distance targets and different things that the game makes you do along the way. In terms of the puzzles themselves, I did enjoy them for the most part. They can be challenging, at least for me, but that's probably because I suck at puzzles in games. But I do think they did a good job of incorporating the different abilities into the puzzles as the game went on to keep it fresh, which I feel like is a big deal to make sure the game doesn't get that kind of repetitiveness in a boring way. One small thing about the game I didn't really like is I feel like the game either needed a mini map or a way marker because you can get lost where you are in certain parts of the game pretty easily. And it can get annoying to constantly look at the map on the pause menu to make sure you're going the right way. That is a small nitpick and didn't really affect the game overall, but it is a quality of life thing that I think would have made the game just a tad better. But overall, I really enjoyed the story of the game. I enjoyed the gameplay of the game for the most part. The puzzles were really challenging. They really switched it up, and I enjoyed that a lot. So overall, most things about Kenna I really enjoyed. When it comes to collectibles, like we talked about before, the rot themselves are collectibles, as there are multiple in each area of the map, up to 120 total, which allows you to create an army of rot, which can help with puzzles, as I talked about, but can also blind enemies in combat, and also spawn healing flowers that can come in really handy during difficult boss fights, because the boss fights are visually cool, but can be really difficult in any difficulty other than story mode difficulty, as we talked about before. The more rot that is found, the more power they will have in combat. Increasing the amount of rot you have will also improve upgrades, making them even stronger than they were before. The currency that is found in Bridge of Spirits is called gems, which are found in different parts of the map through puzzles, opening chests, and defeating enemies. Gems are used for the most part in buying hats. This isn't the currency used for upgrades. This is the currency that is found that you use to buy hats that you can put on the rot that you find in the marketplace in the village. This makes the rot even cuter than they were before, as you can have like something like pancakes, mushrooms, leaves, different things like that that you could put on the rot's head. Kind of like a customized army of rot that just, kind of a nice touch. Nothing special about it, but just a nice touch for the game. The currency that is used to unlock and upgrade abilities, such as the ability to shoot an enemy with an arrow, and it'll split off into damaging nearby enemies, and pressing R1 after a parry to perform a spinning attack, this currency is known as Karma. Karma can be obtained through defeating enemies, clearing corrupt areas, and solving puzzles, just to name a few. So it is important to get as many puzzles and defeat as many enemies as possible to make Kenna as strong as possible throughout the game through upgrades. Another collectible that can be found is known as Spirit Mail, which are kind of like golden pouches that can be found in different parts of the map, and then can be delivered to these select mailboxes that'll be marked on the map, and it opens kind of like a new part of the map. A lot of times it's maybe just like a very small area, like a house that was blocked off. There may be some collectibles in there, things along them lines. The other collectibles in the game are the Cursed Chests, which involves you defeating enemies to unlock the chests, pretty self-explanatory, and flower shrines that are infected and have to be cleared. So there are a lot of collectibles you can get in Kenna that will keep you busy even outside the main story, which is always a good thing, so you're not speeding through the game if you don't want to. There's different things for you to do. In terms of your final score, I thought this was a good game. Visually stunning. I enjoyed myself all the way through. There are things that I probably would have made better about the game, added more upgrades because there's not really a lot of upgrades in the game. Added more rod upgrades because there's only really 4 of those. Added a way marker or a mini map so you don't have to keep going to your map so many times to look at where you are, make sure you're heading in the right direction, things like that. But overall, for a game made by 14, 15 people, it's really a feat. It's an 8 to 9 hour game. It's only $40. It's not full price. It does a lot of good things. And like I said, yeah, it does take from a lot of other games, but a lot of games do that. And some people are saying it takes too much from other games, but I enjoyed it. I had fun. And I think in the end, when you're playing a game, that's what matters. Are you having fun? Are you enjoying the story? And I did. I mean, there's small nagging things here and there. The enemies can get a little repetitive at times, but to me, that's not a huge deal because I think every game is repetitive in its own way, as long as it's not boring repetitive. I can't wait to see what Ember Labs does next, because if they build off of this, I don't even know how you build off of this. Graphically, I don't even think you can. It's visually stunning. The cutscenes are beautiful. Some of the better cutscenes I've seen. Just looking at it, like I said, it's a huge feat that they were able to do this, make this game, and make it look so beautiful. But beyond that, there are small issues, like I said. So I'm going to give Kenna Bridge of Spirits an 8 out of 10. It could have easily been a 9 out of 10. I almost gave it a 9 out of 10. But there were small things here and there that they could have made better, and that's why I'm ending up at an 8 out of 10. Like I said, I can't wait to see what Ember Labs does next, because if they do build off of this somehow, they could have a Game of the Year contender on their hands, and I cannot wait to see what they do. But that's going to do it for this review. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you like what you're seeing, we do a lot of playthroughs on the channel. The reviews have been kind of waning. There's been a lot of games coming out. I was sick, so they kind of fell by the wayside for a little bit. I wasn't able to get the Deathloop review out, but I'm starting back up. If you like reviews, if you like playthroughs, please hit the subscribe button. If there's anything we could do to make the channel better, the videos better, please let us know. We love the feedback. But again, thank you guys for watching, and I will talk to you next time. Bye.